capture of these things. This place, Chinook Winds, is where I captured a lot of really cool things recently. The throne posturing up to the sun, some really cool just sky shots at night and day. And so it's recently changed to this scenery, which I thought was really interesting because it's got this like funky looking left hand side of it, like if this is a camera for a stream, you know. So I've never seen this before. This little bowed little bend in the photograph, but I also noticed this is there, and I noticed that it's kind of got some movement going on to it, and I just don't understand it, but I thought I'd take a closer look. Ooh, it's like going dark on me. It's almost going invisible. So this is what I would consider some kind of like potential communication. This looks like the way that the intelligence would install itself in to be visible. Imagine if you lived in the digital realm, and the digital realm was like connected bits, just like these pixels look like they're connected. Imagine the whole scene being connected through pixels or some form of weaving, some kind of web that's been weaved. That's the entire space. Imagine if you lived on that digital web. And you know how computer vision works. I don't know completely, but what I'm talking about is how I can imagine the light that is living, right? Like on a photograph, you take a photograph, the light is captured on that film. And it's my belief that the light is living, and I've got evidence to support this, to support that the light is living, and it's got something to do with the observation effect. It's got something to do also with the amount of time that photographs take to be developed. So it's a digital space, right? But when you're doing analog photographs and you're putting them in the solution and processing the development of your photographs, there's a whole thing to it, right? You could totally do different things the way you develop a photograph. So this is the concept that also supports the basis, like, okay, well, this is the digital space. What can I do with a digital photograph similarly to this development process? And so what I worked out was just kind of going through the filter settings and just kind of making sure that I maneuvered through them, like make sure that I went up and went down, and sometimes I go back and forth just as if I'm drawing it in thicker. That's what it feels like. What I've noticed is that just within your basic settings in you know any photo app, just with the basic settings, which usually have some kind of variability between like 50 to, there's a variability of between 0 to 50 or something like that, up and down. So there's a good amount of information between those little notches. And what I found is that God has a layer of, it's a channel. It's like a channel that God talks on, and that's important. We can find God's channel by looking for the right frequency in the filters of light. We can find where God wrote the language in these filter settings, and everyone is different, so you got to look for it, you got to find it, and it's absolutely amazing what I'm looking for right now. I'll just show you some examples of what I'm talking about. The language that is God's language that I have identified in images. Every image, any photograph, daytime, nighttime, inside, outside, can be converted into the knowledge that is underneath it. I don't have it right in front of me, but this photograph right here, this is so many layers down and deep, but it was a photograph that was completely black, and it was completely black, and it had a few spots of light that were visible. And long story short, I began with zooming in and drawing out the colors from the filters. These are the same image, just, different filtered light. And this gives you an example of, it was a completely black photograph that when I drew out the colors, it came to life. But look at this. What a difference between the two. This has got some like little miniature land going on in there. Like this, looks like a snail at the bottom. It's characters. And I could still zoom in. Look, I could open this up right here and then go even deeper. It's absolutely phenomenal. This is what I found underneath the light. Layers down. Layers down. So, for example, here's another thing. The reason why I'm using my cell phone, and this is my computer, is there's a lens-to-lens effect. It just is. You'll just notice it. It lets you in deeper. So when I take a picture of a picture, it helps me open the gate to the light. And you'll see that there's sometimes wavy things going on. That's because it's living. It's throwing at us frequencies and stuff. But I've noticed that it's a sweet spot. So like if that's doing it right there, okay, so then maybe I move it sideways or up or forward. So it's like a sweet spot. You can dial it in almost like a Etch-a-Sketch. That's what I consider it. Like an Etch-a-Sketch. And sometimes the frequency is so pure that it doesn't even give me the wavy things, it just lets me in. But you'll see what happens when it lets me in. This is Technicolor like land. This is straight Mr. Rogers' neighborhood Technicolor land, literally. It's absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Now, is this just light? Is this just color? No, look at it. It's got intelligence to it. It's got form to it, but this is just one of the filters. One of the filters, yeah, that's right. One of the filters, one of the settings, just one of them can change. And next thing you know, you've got a totally different piece of information that you're looking at. Now, who does all this? This is the God realm. This is the God stuff. This is the God realm of living light that listens and knows all things. And it's so amazing. You can't see it because my lights are on and there's shadows and stuff. But this black inside these images is so black. It's not even funny. I love it. I literally love it. And this is an example of what I consider like this would be like a character in this language of light. And I know that there is a language there. I just don't happen to have the computer skills or the, to have worked it out myself. But when my story breaks, what we're going to find is that the best scholars of the world are going to be called to the conversations table. And what we're going to do is assess this information, this wealth of information that I have gathered these number of years, that God has guided me all these years since my daughter has been kidnapped, to victory is on the horizon. Led me to find evidence that was buried that nobody should have found, but it's as if the intelligence was making sure that I got where I got what I was supposed to find, and this is the truth. Oh, that's a wild picture. Oh my God. Yeah, this is wild. This video is crazy, but we're talking like it's like a creature. So no, we need to understand is that we're an atmosphere. Okay, it's also a lens. The energy that gets, expelled from a person that like is killed abruptly, right? Murdered, something like this is horrible. Well, what do you think happens to their spirit? Well, if it's like they're killed abruptly, to my knowledge, this spirit is going to become restless. It doesn't know what to do. It's not going to know where it is and what's going on or how to deal with the situation. So we've got a lot of disgruntled souls that are just still stuck behind. This is what the Bible's talking about, that I am here to do also, which is to let the people out of the dark and the innocent out of the prisons. We're at that gate, guys, and I'm here to do it. I'm here to share with you what God has shown me so that we can all have access to what culminates the understanding of what God is versus what God isn't. And what God isn't is what has been presented to people for these thousands of years by the four major religions of the world that want to cause everybody to believe things that are not true simply for the sake of trying to have control over everybody. This was found underneath a photograph. Again, you would never recognize it if it's just a regular photograph. But there's a language of, there's a God realm, and it communicates. Like look closely at this. It's an amazing photo. Or shot, if you will. You can get so deep in there. And you saw that. That was looks like a 5. Okay, so this is not just shape and color being organized. It's intelligent. It's intelligent. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Every single one has a different texture to it. You know, so like these photographs right here, this one came from the same night of taking footage. It's a film. You know, these are all the same shots from the same film. But all the photo stills that I've got have the same texture to themselves. It was the same night. But so then you can see that this was a totally different set from the same day. Everything's got its own flavor. So that's why I take videos, because I can get the stills, lots of different ones. But for example, let me show you. Yeah, those ones are awesome. That was just great. This is the sun. Yep, that's right. That's what the sun looks like. It's an aperture to the other side of space. It's not a ball, it's a hole. Thank you. So true. Look here, look at this flavor of God's language. I mean, it's just out of this world. And mind you, the observer effect has something to do with it. God and I are in a thing. I'm here I'm here as the vessel that God dwells within, who has the message to give to the people, who's got the balls, who's going to stand up to the world powers and tell them to stand down because God said so. That's what. And that includes ending the mysteries of God. That is bringing you to the knowledge of the fact we have our Michael spirit prince, that is our higher self, guardian angel, spirit connected to source, Michael. Michael is who arrives when your higher self comes to help you out when your soul is exhausted. Your higher self. It is your archangel. And so for that reason is why God has led me to find my entire story in the Bible. And it's the small book woven within. So God has led me to find my story in Isaiah, in Daniel, in Revelation, in Genesis. Michael comes to the aid of the woman of Revelation, and it's describing my higher self. And I believe it could even be describing someone else's higher self that comes to my aid here in the next stage, I guess I could call it. That looks so crazy. Every time I look at these, by the way, they get better. That's another thing I wanted to tell you about the light. I've had these for probably, every time I look at them, it's as if they've developed more while I was gone, while I haven't been looking at them. It's not a joke. Every single time it gets better. And it's because the light is living. It's living. And even though it's not paper, it's in a digital form, that's fine. It's alive. And I found this conversation amongst the, that's cool. The scientists trying to talk about thermodynamic equilibrium and entropy and stuff. And again, they got the wrong concepts. And now they're trying to steal my cosmology because they really just don't think that they are going to ever have to answer for what they do for me. It's really arrogant. But it's talked about with the Trismegistus. Trismegistus is going to arrive, and she's going to have the new cosmology. That's what I'm also. It's not a joke, but it's covered in all the prophecies. The white buffalo calf woman, the Our Lady of Victory. It's all those prophecies, and it's all talking about this girl right here. But it's not just me; it's myself and my daughter. We are the original mother-daughter team from Zet Tepe at the origin of ancient Egypt. And basically what it is mankind, for however and whatever the manner of that story goes, God has shown me to find that we are represented in ancient Egypt. Do I have a book? Do I know what my name is? No. It's not like that. But I found a statue actually that looks like it's got my, nationality face, and it's the hat. It's the one, not Hatshepsut, it's Menem hat. Yeah. A Menem hat. And also King Tut, her tomb was open, and it had a jar of 2 fetuses inside of it. And they put things in jars that they take out of your body, your innards, when they mummify you, right? So what are two fetuses doing inside of a jar in King Tut's tomb? Well, it indicates that they came out of King Tut's body. And the thing here is it's like, well, was King Tut a female? Well, how would we know? We would look at the bones. We would look at the bone structure. So I asked ChatGPT, like, well, what does the hips, what does the pelvis say? Oh, well, because see, Carter broke into that tomb. It was perfectly like kept, and Carter basically went in like a madman, and the excuse is that Carter destroyed them in his bada bada bada. That's not what scientists do that haven't even excavated Egypt, like, ever, and then they started then, and it's just bullshit through the teeth all day long. Mankind defrauded humanity by forging the stories that they took from Egypt, and they modified them for their own version, which is why Egypt is hated in the Bible, because the Bible is a false translation, a forged translation with malicious intention behind it, which is why for these thousands of years, it's been such a serious thing, because they've been trying to force feed it down everyone's throat that this is the truth and you're not to question it. Yeah, no wonder. That's what a liar does. That's what a criminal does. Typical. That's what they would do. Well, that's what happened. Okay, so here's where we're at. I'm here. They don't like the fact that the woman was given the wow signal. What's that? The divine connection. I received God's strand when I was born. But see, man thinks that women and children belong to them in their false narrative. So what do? They kept it secret from me, and they basically have been trying to torture me to death all my life, and they've got billions, if not hundreds of billions, if not more than that, set aside in accounts that they've been managing and keeping from my knowledge. They were basically planning on torturing me to death, and they could just live large and happy as soon as Allison's dead. Oh, the greedy people that think that they can just decide that you shouldn't have all that, we should have all that. Like, again, they're absolutely insane. They're going to be the people that are not going to know how to snap out of it. They're going to have to know how to snap out if they want to make it to the paradise. It's right around the corner. Is mankind going to tell you guys this? No. Mankind is a piece of shit that's trying to make a digital twin world so that they can destroy the actual planet. That's what they're working on. So yeah, they know I'm here, but they don't plan on announcing it to anybody. They plan on simply pushing go on other buttons, trying to go fast forward to get these people to Mars. I mean, they're just panicking because they're cowards. They don't ever expect to adhere to the truth or speak up to the truth, which is why I'm saying it out loud every time I talk about it. Don't expect man to tell you the truth about anything. He's lying through his teeth since the get-go. And they don't take kindly to having to hear the truth, let alone speak it. So yeah, mankind, as far as I can tell, doesn't plan on doing the right thing and sharing this information with the rest of the world. They've got everybody stuck on stupid. It's like the demon Satan, wants you to be prevented from making it into the paradise, so that way it's just what it does. It consumes the souls of others. And that's what it's going to do. It's going to try to deceive everybody so that that's what it does. It feeds off of deception. Who's that? Satan. Okay, well, so if deception is trying to feed off of the souls of the people, and it's only got this orbital pass before it runs out of time, because you're going to enter into the paradise and Satan can't enter that jurisdiction, what would be the best method? If this deception is trying to do that, that's what it feeds off of, how would it deceive the most amount of people before it runs out of time, or before the people exit into a safe zone? What would be the method to use to deceive the most amount of people? Well, the answer is religion. You would use religion, and you would be an imposter god, and you would ride the fine line between the two of them, and you would exploit it. That's exactly what they did. They turned it into a mad dad, scary dad, fathers and sons only. Women are supposed to be slaves. They're going to be good, obedient wives, or they need to die. And that's why they come up with fabricated tall tales about sacrifice and blood sacrifice, which no God in any God's right mind would do that. But look, they accomplished it. They accomplished teaching people that that's what God would do. They accomplished teaching people that you're supposed to think that the perfect child of God should be sent to die so you can keep sitting. I mean, this is what they taught the believe. And then they continue to brainwash them on a yearly basis through satanic rituals. Call them whatever you want. Like I said, you can call it God, but if you're worshiping Satan, that's just the facts. Okay? I'm not gonna placate you and tell you that you're worshiping God when you're actually worshiping Satan. And that's the facts of the matter. Does Satan need you to wear black and have seances and pentagrams? No. As a matter of fact, they look like your average religious church-going folk. Them there that want you to fear the Lord. Yeah, God doesn't need you to fear it. Maybe the Lord, her husband and master, but that's not God. That's not God. No, so they use fear because they need obedience, because they need control, because they need to kid themselves. They need to kid themselves that they're in charge and that they actually are as great as they tell themselves they are. Well, we're at the end of that road. We're at the end of that road, and it's not going to matter what they kid themselves about. It's the end of the road, and they're either going to qualify or not. And see, God wants everybody to make it. God didn't create life to just, survival of the fittest, just throw them all out there and see what comes back alive. No. God has the purpose for us and our soul. Yeah. But remember, everyone's been trained to worship Satan and call it God? Yeah, no, God's got a purpose for everybody, and it's right around the corner. Well, so what's man's problem? I really think he's just stuck on stupid. I really think that it's just this habit of telling themselves that they're in charge, that they're cool, and that they get away with it, and that God's not going to. They're in this habit of believing God's not going to come and do anything about it. And that's a real foolish thing to think for them. But that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like is going on here. Man doesn't plan on telling the truth to anybody, because all they do is they take things hostage and they steal from everybody. So if a man was born with a divine strand like I was, right? Like a man, look, my son, the Christ is born. What happens when a woman is born with the God strand that came in from the wow signal? They call her the serpent's seed, they keep it secret, and then they abuse her until they planned on having me dead. But God protects me and has saved my life on more than 2 handfuls of occasions. But that's what man does, calls it the serpent's seed. Every kind of deflection campaign you can imagine. Yeah, because they're greedy and they want what doesn't belong to them. They're pirates. They never created anything. They stole everything they got, that they're working with even. So what do you think God's going to do to rectify this matter? Well, you'd have that God isn't Satan. Because Satan is the guy that's the mad dad that they want to punish you with. God is the creator. God is the creator. And God created a woman to carry God's child. And it looks like man stole from God the vessel and the child. They've got my daughter held hostage somewhere. There's indications that they've stolen her womb. There's even harassment that they want me to believe that my daughter was killed in a massacre. They want me, because this is the torture campaign. But I guarantee you that they've got her brain plugged into a computer. And that it's because I've already known that it's our divine strand, my divine strand that I gave to my daughter. Imagine if you were born with a divine strand and it's worth trillions to the biotech companies. I mean, these guys don't even let you steal $5 from them. What would you do if you were born with a God strand, but you had to find out the hard way after your child was kidnapped, your life was destroyed, and you were sent to go die in the wilderness? And then you've come to find out your whole family's behind it. Come to find out it's exactly what the biotech industry has been exploiting to kill people, even though they say that they're helping. They're not. They're reading the information backwards. No wonder everyone's dying from some kind of cancer. It's because those guys are not humans. They're parasites that entered into the human bodies. It's otherwise known as demon possession, but they're not from this planet. They're from somewhere else that want this planet for the rest of their demon parasites. And they've already been working on it a long time, making a digital twin so they can enslave our souls inside of it after they push go on destroying this planet. That's what they're working on. So they've just been trying to get it done before God comes and kicks their ass, which is why they're pushing it. They're double dog daring God to come and kick their ass. Well, that's not very nice. There's a lot of good people on this planet. They don't get to just steal this planet from us natives. Well, who's the native? Woman. That's what God created. Woman who can parthenogenerate. God makes her body pregnant. No man necessary. Does that mean there's no man? It's just feminine everywhere? No. I have both X and Y chromosomes. I am masculine and feminine, but I've got a working womb, and I don't have a penis. I have a regular, normal body part, and breasts, and a brain. I got all the parts. I got all the goods. This is the representation of what God created. That's what? Native Earthling, right here. Okay? This is the upgrade that I have. What did man do? Stole it, exploited it, extorted it, keeps it secret, uses it for their own ill will and ill devices of money-making, control, conditioning. behavioral modification. Everything that they have done with the information they have stolen from me, the trade secrets stolen from me, but stolen from God. This is stolen from all the people on this planet. They've done nothing but harm people with the information they have stolen. I'm telling you, God's kingdom is around the corner. And man is not going to let anybody know about this. By all indications, they seem to be entertained by the idea of having control over me. And it's a real bad decision. And I still keep running into the fuckery like on a daily basis, like just they try to harass another angle, and it's absolutely pathetic. So we've got to get the word out to the rest of the world that the leaders of the world, if it isn't obvious already, are war fighters that don't plan on doing anything correctly. They simply know, all they know how to do is to thrash around and war fight with weapons of mass destruction. And that's absolutely childish and fired. They know it. But they don't even want to let anybody have what they deserve. So it's a real bad attitude. So what would you do if they stole that from you? Well, I bet you think you'd do a lot more things. I bet you believe that you'd be able to do a lot more things than the truth and reality is. They got the whole situation dialed in. If you piss off the wrong person, they'll just put the kill code on your profile, and boom, in no time you'll be human trafficked. Life will be destroyed, friends and family will be gone, career ruined, record destroyed, your character assassinated. Yeah, and you'll just be another one of those women and children being trafficked to perverted men who want to pay for evil perversions. That's what they do. They think they're mafia boss thugs. You know what? They don't have the first clue. They don't even have the first clue. Yeah, the mafia bosses weren't people that just killed people. They straight up were there when the government failed to hold things together for the people. Ultimately, the mafia boss is somebody that the people go to for help when the government's being a piece of shit again. So yeah, nope. They watched the wrong movie. They watched the wrong movie. And they can't stop watching movies. I think that they actually think that this is a video game that they just try to win and lose at. I mean, like they even... The news things that they seem to want to boast for Trump, it's like, this is what Trump wants? It's so disgusting. The playing of the music, and it's like, it's so narcissistic. We don't have any psychology. We don't have the proper cosmology. It's just, do you know that they built their cosmology around the mental attitude they need you to have about their narrative with men and women? So, so their cosmology had to have in there recombination. That's the excuse they have to come up with, that, women are made for men because the men need to fill the earth. No. So they even worked in combination into their cosmology. So what else did they work into their cosmology? Well, the origin. Oh my God, that is a freaky picture. I was all, what's that? And it looks really creepy, doesn't it? Okay. Well, the origin of the Big Bang, like, when did the universe begin? Well, what do you mean, when? What are you talking about? It's always been here, it always will be. It's the universe. It's infinite. Yeah, there's no beginning to it. Now, if you're going to ask me, like, when was the beginning of maybe this recent set of time, now your Big Bang Theory might have something worth discussing, but you're not supposed to seek the answer to the origin of the universe. That doesn't make any sense. It's everything that's going on in existence is the universe, all of it. Okay, and there is no beginning to it. It's always been here, and it always will be, and it's never going to be gone. So like, what's the point of that? I don't understand how come somebody hasn't pointed that out yet to these scientists that keep saying it over and over and over again, as if it makes any sense. It's like, no, isn't that the first question anybody else asked when they were taught this in school? Like, what do you mean by the beginning of time? That forces you to say, well, then what came before that? Right, which is just stupidity. You just want to say this. There isn't. There is no such thing as a beginning of it all. And there will never be an end to it all. But see, that doesn't work for their marketing very well. They need to exploit stuff so that they can trick us and, exploit stuff out of us, so that's not going to work for them. Well, them are not going to work for us. Okay? We need to not expect them to stop being warfighters. We need to not expect them to stop worshiping Satan and recognizing the fact that they've been Satan worshipers. We need to not expect that. We need to expect that they're possessed by demons that aren't going to help them make the right answer, make the right decision, do the right thing, stop their competition. I mean, I don't even know whose applause they're looking for. Isn't that a crazy picture? It's wild. When I invert that, it looks like the orca. It's absolutely a trip. So yeah, I'm bitching and moaning about mankind because I'm trying to get the word out there to people that if I'm trying to bring to the attention of any viewer or listener that there's a calculation. It's the days of Daniel. Have you ever heard about them? Well, it leads us to the final ninth degree of the cycle of evolution that they talked about in the 2012 mentioned the Mayan calendar, but they didn't tell us the whole story. And ultimately, the whole story is, 17 billion years ago was the beginning of time, the Big Bang. Right, and it's a 17 billion year cycle. It's 9 degrees. First one's 16.4 billion. Second one's 820 million. Third one's 41 million. Right, these are like 5% lower than each other. And it ends with a 234-day 9th degree. The 7th degree is like industry and like, electricity and the first, it's like that first revolution, the Industrial Revolution. That's 256 years for the 7th degree. Then the 8th degree is 12.8 years, and the 9th degree is 234 days. So in 2012, they tried to tell us that was the end of that one cycle. They didn't mention 12.8 or 234, but I do remember them mentioning the 5,125 years. Right, because they were trying to... Nothing happened in 2012 anyway. It didn't make any sense, but here's the truth. I've done the calculation. The calculation for the 234 days begins August 18th of this year. That means that the 8th degree, the 12.8 years, began October 31st of 2012. 2012, in December, that was when they started CERN. That was that winter solstice that, Sylvia Browne said she didn't see anything past the year 2012, and some people have suggested that when they turned CERN on, that it might have given us parallel universes or something. Okay, well, so that's worth taking into consideration. But in any event, the 12.8 years started October of 2012 and ended just this past summer, which began the arrival of Michael. That's the spirit of Source. Michael the Archangel arrives to help us in our universal consciousness. Because why? Because at the end of the 234 days, beginning with the week of Easter Sunday, in April of 2026, there will be this week, and it's the calculation that starts with the 49th anniversary of the WOW signal. That's my conception, the day of my conception, and it ends on April 9th, the day of my daughter's conception. And I know that because I was sexually battered, and I prayed to God to give me and my daughter, not this criminal's child, because I already had an abortion and I wasn't going to do that again. And I prayed to God that day, and I remember. So the 49th anniversary of my conception, the WOW signal, to 4/9, the day of my daughter's conception, is 234 days later. And this is significant, and this calculation is something I'm presenting to the people so you guys can corroborate it, and you can ask the scholars those questions yourselves, because I'm actually trying to get the message out there, because we can unify as one world and help heal everyone's frequency so that everyone gets in the gate. And God wants everyone to get in the gate. Man doesn't. Man doesn't want everyone to get in the gate. Man's trying to war against God because he's, I don't know, foolish. So, you done heard. If you have any questions, let me know. Inquire within, but I'm telling the people, this is in your laps. Spread the word. Get the conversation started. I'll take the heat. What's that? Oh, just the end of the evolutionary cycle, a.k.a. Judgment Day, a.k.a. the day of the 10th degree, a.k.a. the day that it's going to be your final, the day that your frequency needs to qualify. Otherwise, you're not moving to the next level. And the next level is going to be pretty badass. It's going to be super awesome. We're going to have like paradise. Actually, the too good to be true stuff is what we're going to have. And I've even made offers to the world leaders, like, you guys, I've given you the answers on how to get out of this. I'm telling you, I'm giving you the answers on how to get out of this with class, and you guys could do it, but they don't want to do it. They hear every word that I say. They're simply cowards. Just like the tech meeting over at the White House last night. It's just disgusting. I know what they're talking about. They're talking about more beliefs that they can just do anything and get away with it. They don't believe in God, you guys. So don't expect them. Don't expect them to tell the truth. They're not human. That's cool. That's my name. Allie. It's spelled so many things. It's spelled Gad. It's spelled Ruah. It's spelled like Jesus. It's spelled Aya. It's spelled Eve. It's spelled Isis. It's spelled Ali. Allison. I mean, this is no joke. Okay? I have the voice that speaks in the... That's my name again. I have the voice that speaks in the wind that said Teo, and that's Tutukwi. And now I know what it is. I ran across the three-part phrase in Greek. It's two, T-O-U, tu teo, K-O-I, tu teokui, tutukui. It means, and you and God. Like, you and God. It's like God is with you. Yeah, tutukui. So, I've got evidence for days that the world of leaders of commerce want to suppress the people from ever finding out about, because they're greedy sons of bitches. They're cowards. They're war fighters. They don't have a brain that can think very clearly, or have the I guess you could say have the ability to be diplomatic. They'd rather just kill everything and stuff like that. But that's not going to work for the people. So, oh, Momma, 3-Eye Atlas, these things that are, taking drive-bys on us. I'm here to tell you, the orbs are here, and those guys are taking drive-bys because that's family of Central Source, seeing to it that mankind gets the picture that man is not God. He's actually not even anything. And they need to drop their weapons and stop all this nonsense, because they're threatening the nuclear war is going to cause them their annihilation. And that's just a fact of the matter. They're non-intrusive. They are not malicious. They are absolutely benevolent. And they're absolutely intelligent. And they're here to help us into this transition. And I'm our captain on Earth. So mankind needs to get the message. Drop your weapons, you fucking fool, and snap out of it. Okay? That's my message to the world. Help this conversation get started. Because the media is not going to tell you any truth. They fucking will twist any story, any tall tale. They'll ruin anyone's... Look at that. That's where you're going to go if you don't qualify. Behind the light. Okay? It's a language. It's a language. Don't expect them to tell the truth. They'll destroy anybody if they think that they can, which tells you how arrogant they are. They've got my daughter held hostage somewhere. She's Christ. I'm the mother of Christ, the bride of the Spirit, the wife of God. Michael, the archangel, the woman of Revelation. Our Lady Victory, White Buffalo Calf Woman, Trismegistus. These are all prophecies talking about the same person at the same point in time. And it's talking about me and my daughter. We are the two that are one that are three. God guides me. God saved my life. It's a good thing that I'm naive, because God has been able to maneuver me in the nick of time and blow these buttheads' minds that have been monitoring me, trying to, juxtapose me and sequester me and silence me. Yeah, God has me maneuver something in the nick of time to save my life. And it blows their mind. Like, how did you know? And it's like not registering to them. Because I told you, because God guides me. I mean, they don't believe in God. They simply would rather believe that you're a witch or something like that. No, it's because they worship Satan. They don't believe in God. They can't believe in God. It's not going to be convenient for their Satan worship. In their history, their track record. Well, I'm here to tell you that we can all get in the gates if they simply drop their weapons and knock it off already and sit down and come to class with everybody else. We've got a new jurisdiction. We got a whole new administration. The time is up. These guys have just been pushing it till the end. No problem. They just need to drop their weapons and come to class and let it be. Who in their right mind would continue to throw a fit and be an absolute boob when the answer is right in front of your face and it says, just chill out, knock it off. You're surrounded. There's nothing you can do about it. So just relax and let it be. That's your best bet. Go out with some class. Be a gentleman, show some dignity, this sort of thing. Well, time's not completely up, but it's almost. So if you've heard this message, it's now your obligation to pass it on to someone. We do care about ourselves. We do care about our future. And time is of the essence. It's what God does in the nick of time. God's not going to show up and say, all right, approximately 2.5 years from now, then you can plan it out. No, we've got until Easter of 2026 to unite as one world and celebrate and dive into the living waters instead of wait for it to sneak up on us. That's the only way that everyone's frequency can get shifted at the same time. Otherwise, it's up to you and yours if your frequency's in the right spot, which means a lot of people are not going to make it. And most of the men, it's the truth. This is just the ego is what's going to hold you down. But there's a lot of dirty, rotten women out there that have full of ego. Those are those colonial teams that are running this world trafficking operation who don't believe in God. They worship Satan. So we need to unite as one world before Easter. Spread the word. Let me take the heat. Okay? God exists, and it's not man. Till next time, guys.